welcome back. Welcome to a beginner guide to Dungeons and Dragons. Today, I just want to talk about this in general. So, mm, let's start. You see, it will be more like a story. I wanted to draw the images or just make the images of whatever I wrote in the script. I just wanted to, um, whatever is written in the script. I just wanted to talk about it, but yeah. So let's start. Mm, you see a cozy living room adorned with fantasy-themed decorations. A group of friends, James, Lisa, and Mike, sit around a coffee table covered with character sheets, dice, and rulebooks. They are ready to embark on their first ever Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons: A Beginner's Guide, where I'll show you the basics of this tabletop role-playing game, tabletop RPG. So first we hear James say, "All right, everyone, let's begin. The first thing you need as an adventurer, is some creative imagination." And then Lisa says, "And of course, the most important part of the group is a group of friends or fellow adventurers to play with." Then Mike says, "Exactly. Once you have your group, you'll need some materials. We'll need some materials like rule books, character sheets, and set of dice, polyhedral dice. The rule books provide the framework for the game, explaining everything from character creation to combat mechanics." Then James holds up a character sheet. Then he says, "Character sheets are where you create and track your unique character. They have spaces for your name, race, class, abilities, and much more." Then Lisa says, "Choose a race and class that suits your desired play style. For example, you can be a strong and courageous warrior, or a wise and old-looking spellcaster." Then Mike says, "Once your character is ready, you will use the dice to determine the outcome of your actions. The most common one is 20-sided dice, or a d20, which I can show you right here. The most important thing is to roll a dice, or roll a dice whenever making an action." Then you see Mike roll the dice, and he lands on a 12. Whenever you want to do something like attack an enemy, persuade the NPC, or you roll for d20 and add relevant modifiers. James then says, "The Dungeon Master, or the DM, is the storyteller and the guide for the game. They create the world, describe the environment, and play with the non-player characters. The DM also decides the outcome of your actions based on the dice rolls and the rules of the game." Mike then says, "As players, you will work together to overcome challenges, battles, monsters, and complete quests. The choices you make and the path you take shape the story." Dungeons and Dragons, a game where your imagination knows no bounds. The adventures you create are limited only by your creativity. James, Lisa, and Mike gather their things and prepare to embark on their adventure. James then says, "Remember, the most important thing is to have fun and let your imagination run wild." Lisa then says, "And don't worry if you are new to the game. Everyone starts somewhere, and the journey is half of the fun." Then you hear Mike say, "So grab your dice, gather your friends, and get ready for an unforgettable adventure in the world of Dungeons and Dragons." So this was a short guide for Dungeons and Dragons. I hope, and let me first. So This was a story about how a group of friends played the game, explained the game. Each dice is very important. For example, in my own games, we sometimes use even the D100 sided dice whenever we roll for loot. Or D20 is the most, like we said earlier, is the most common one amongst the dice that you use. I can explain each one in a separate video, or for different classes if that's what you like. Hope you like this video. See you in the next one.